Mark Davis versus Jed York, a battle royale of top tier NFL owners. Which one you got to take if you had to pick?
Okay, I love this question.
They're
Um,
so good.
Now, let me say, this is going to surprise you. I think Mark Davis is a nicer person than Jed York.
Yeah. Tell me what you mean by that.
He's easier to get along with.
Yeah.
I always liked chatting with him on the phone. He always tried so hard. With Jed, I never even called him on the phone. I didn't
Yeah.
think it would be all that productive. And,
No.
Jed, he'll talk to me, but, I, I just don't. I don't feel any warmth coming from him.
Right.
I could be wrong. I think Mark Davis is actually a warm guy.
Yeah.
Having said that, it's totally irrelevant. Or, as John Gruden says, it's
Irrelative.
irrelevant.
Davis seems like the kind of guy who would just go to PF Chang's by himself and talk to anyone at the bar who's sitting next to him, which is cool. Mark Davis.
Yeah, he used to
I
hang
do.
around at PF
Yeah.
Chang's in Walnut Creek, and
Yeah.
he had a table, and he was a very friendly guy.
I can't
Having
see
said
Jed
that,
doing that.
no, I don't think he could do it. Anyway, he's in Vegas.
Yeah.
I think Jed's a better owner. I don't think it matters who's a nicer guy. I think Jed's a better owner, and I would say here's why. First of all, people may not understand this. The Raiders are one of the most cash poor
Yeah.
teams in the league.
Yeah.
I don't know what percentage Mark has, but it's not a majority percentage over there, I don't think. And that affects them. They lost a lot of money last year because they didn't have anybody in the stands. Everybody did, but the Niners have a lot more money than the
Yeah.
Raiders do. I also think that Mark hiring Gruden for 10 years for like $100 million was really stupid. Really stupid. He got a pub from it for a while, but can the guy produce? No.
No.
So, and I think there's so many mistakes that Jed made, but I actually think he has a good general manager. I think he has a good coach, although we're
We'll
going to
see.
learn a lot more about them this season. And
Yeah.
I think he has a loaded roster, better than the Raiders. So I would have to go with Jed. What do you say, Iggy?
I would have to go with Jed, but I think it's pretty close. It's hard to look for at things that Jed does well. Maybe I'm just hard on him, but I mean that stadium is just terrible. It's in the wrong city. They're gonna have to move back to San Francisco in the next 20 years. That's my prediction. They'll be back in 20 years.
I
The place
agree.
is terrible. Although I don't know if the place in Vegas is nice. Apparently, there were reports that it was awful. You couldn't get out, and there were like the toilets were backing up. They got problems. I don't know. It's two of the worst owners in the league. It's hard to say what Jed does well. I don't know. I don't know.
Whoa.
I don't know.
Have you
Four,
ever
he's had
have you
we've
ever
had
met
four winning
Jed?
seasons.
Iggy, have you ever met Jed?
Yeah, I met Jed. He's polite.
That's what I say. He's polite. He's
He's polite.
proper.
Yeah, proper. He has this thing that rich people do where they talk really quietly, and they expect everyone kind of like hush up. He talks kind of like this when he's at press conferences and when he's talking to people. It's like, huh? What? I
I,
feel like you have to have $1 billion to talk at that register.
so you're supposed to lean into them.
Yeah, you just kind of talk like this. Like, organization's doing really well. Great to see you, Grant. How are you? He's like, what? Huh? Can't hear you. Sorry. I think normal people try to project and make an impression, but when you have $1 billion, maybe that creates the impression for you, and you just kind of hang back, talk quietly. Maybe that's I don't know. Maybe that's what billionaires do. They talk about it. That guy's talking too loud. Not a billionaire. I don't know, but I've noticed it.
Okay. I got another question for you, Raiders, Niners.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in the pantheon of American sports, all teams, all leagues, um, which brand do you think has more power and cachet, Raiders or Niners?
The 49ers, but the Raiders are underrated. I mean, they have 3 Super Bowls. Al Davis is one of, if not the most important figures in football history. They're underrated. I think they're one of the premier franchises in terms of history, but the 49ers, just if you cover the 49ers and you cover the Raiders, the site covering the 49ers will get way more views because it's just I don't know, they've won 5 Super Bowls. They changed football.
They changed football.
They changed
So
football.
I agree. I think the Niners are up there with the Yankees.
Yeah.
And I don't, the Raiders are phenomenal. but I don't quite think they're at that level. And I do want to remind you, when you were at the Press Democrat, and
True.
there were certain issues between you and the Niners public relations. You
Yeah.
talked to the PD about doing a blog on the Raiders, and they said no, it never works.
That
That
doesn't
happened,
work.
Iggy, right?
That's absolutely true. And they were right. Doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
Doesn't work. So, yeah, I would have to say the Niners. But I think the thing with the Raiders is they haven't been good since the 80s. So if they could ever get good again, it'd be interesting to see what that fan base would be like. But the Niners have had these seasons out of nowhere where they go to the Super Bowl and lose, or the NFC Championship and lose, and it kind of reignites the fan base. The Raiders haven't had a winning season in a very long time, or a playoff season, a good season
Right.
in a long
You
time.
know, the Niners were lucky to have Harbaugh. He injected some Niner pride again. Now, he didn't win the Super Bowl, but he was a big winner when he
Yes,
was
and
with
there
the
was
Niners.
hope, and now there's hope again with Kyle Shanahan. Whereas with the Raiders, they're just a joke. Like Josh Dubow's been covering the team since 2005. I saw him tweeting. He's like, I don't mean to be snarky about the Raiders all the time. It's just that they've been bad the entire time I've been coaching. I've been covering the team, and that's 16 years. So I mean, I'm open minded to them being good. It's just never happened. I thought that was pretty fair. It's pretty fair.
Yeah,
You can't
I
really
agree
be
with
as
that.
snarky about the Niners because they do have some hope here and there.
Well, I'm telling you, I think they're going to win their division.
Right.
You know, what could hold them back? Okay.
Yeah.
Could hold them back is if the offensive line is really bad. And if Iggy, if the left tackle is in and out, that would be
Yeah.
very bad. Um, and if their defensive secondary, someone
Gets
gets
injured.
hurt and they don't have
Yeah.
the depth, and then if the quarterbacks turn out to be an experiment, which you
Yes.
don't want as opposed to a sure thing.
Right.
Having said all that, I think they're a terrific team. I'm not a betting man, not at all. But if I were a betting man, I would bet on them to win their division and to go deep into the playoffs.
If
I
they
don't.
go
And I
back and
wouldn't feel that way about the Raiders.
agree. Sorry to cut you off. If they go
Yeah,
back and forth with their quarterbacks all year, they're not going to the playoffs. They need one of these guys to take this job. Take it. Because right now, all that's happening is Jimmy's fumbling it. It's all that's happening. Trey hasn't really taken it yet. He's got one more. He looked good after a while in the second preseason game. Hasn't taken it yet. He needs to take it in the next, or one of them do. One of them does.
right. And in fact, Jimmy is offering it to him on a silver platter.
Trey's like, I'm not quite ready. I'm not really that hungry just yet. Well, you
Yeah,
better get hungry. One of you two, eat it. Eat what's on the platter, the poo poo
yeah.
platter. Poo poo platter is really nice. I like the poo poo platter. It sounds a little, but it's got you got the little riblets, you got the little fried. It's terrific. I would highly recommend it. They call it the
Where do you
tidbits.
where do you get the poo poo platter?
You get it at Trader Vic's, which is everywhere across the world. But there's one over here in Emeryville, which is one of my favorite places to go. And every time you get the poo poo platter, the fried rice, a little mai tai, that's a good night. It's a good night.